Well, let's see how this stream goes. Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com. And today is March 3rd, April 3rd. Doggone it. It's not going well. April 3rd, 2025. Season 4, episode 93 of Non Sequitur News. The reason why I'm kind of stumbling through this is because, well, my system resources are at varying degrees of 25%, and it makes the streaming machine twitch a little bit. Not my gaming machine. Anyway, inside baseball. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about 10 articles. I'm going to turn this down. That's what I'm talking about here. Production value at an all-time high. I think my audio is off even, so I don't know. We're going to do it live. Stay hydrated. Home Depot parking raids. Case of chronic eruptions in Iceland. You never want a bad case of chronic eruptions. Dune Awakening bases and what happens to them. The Minecraft movie. Trash cinema. Nintendo Switch 2 pricing and contents. April Fool's story, BAFTAs versus Tetris fans, and Apple is a gangster company, says Epic, and I've got a typo in my title. But anyway, those are all my titles. The real titles we'll discuss on the other side of the stream. Well, on the other side of the intro. Anyway, I'm still recovering from my cold. My head is pounding right now. It's not just a cold, it seems. It's hanging on to me. It's really got me right by the neurons. So in Microsoft's infinite wisdom, it's forcing an update of some BS. I've already caught it twice now, trying to install some extension to an LLM, which I'm not interested in hosting anything that integrates my systems into their LLM. I do in other ways, but I don't want my personal systems or ohmTown attached to the LLM. But for whatever reason, they're forcing this, and so I've been stopping it. Anyway, let's get into this. The very first article is, you're probably not drinking enough water. Here's how much you need, according to U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, which who knows how long it'll be around. They say they can guarantee you that they're not doing that, which is drinking 15.5 cups of fluids a day, while women should drink 11.5. Not sure why there is a difference there, but okay. I suspect that a 150-pound woman and a 150-pound man is not discernible based on the number of cups of fluids that they drink in a day, but okay. If anything, you would think that a healthy person, regardless of anything, would drink the same amount. But okay, whatever. Let's stick this in here. So when you click the link, you get taken over to Vice, and Sammy Caramella over at Vice.com put the article together. And according to the U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, men should drink about 15.5 cups or 3.7 liters of fluids a day, while women should drink 11.5 cups or 2.7 liters of fluids a day. And no, I don't know anybody that drinks that much water, for crying out loud. All right. So a study conducted by Avion, which, hey, I'm sure that there's no bias there, found that only 22% of U.S. adults drink the recommended daily intake of water, with the average American drinking half of that. Common excuses include being too busy or simply forgetting to do so. Yeah, or you're not thirsty. It's easy to forget to make time for things that are best for your own well-being, said Bianca Val, a New York-based influencer who works with Avion, per the Post. Again, no bias there. But staying hydrated, especially in the height of summer, is so simple and so easy to do, unless you're not walking around with water. They say whether I'm running around New York talking to clients or simply having a quiet day, I always make sure to have a bottle of water nearby. She continued, it's a small thing. It makes a huge difference to how they feel, and which is more important than ever in a year like this. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, but look at the source. Drink water. Stay hydrated. I suspect that it's much more personal than just a standard 15.5 cups. Should drink about 15.5 cups. It's a ballpark, so just drink water and don't necessarily go out and have to drink Evian water. I'm sure if I get big enough where influencers, or I should say brands, are stomping down my door to ask me to promote their water, you might hear something like this from me. But no, not really. I'll drink what I like. And yesterday was a dewy beer, and I'm trying to recover from this cold, and that made me feel good. Hydrating and yummy. It was a Secret Machine triple berry fruit smoothie beer. But beer is not really something it satiates your thirst for a little bit, but it will dehydrate you. It's alcohol. So anyway, drink water, drink until you're satiated, and then revisit it periodically, and keep water nearby as well as you can. Not everybody can. Anyway, let's keep moving on. Hey, and if you want today's articles, by the way, including the typo that is still in the title of one of the articles, you hit !NSN over in the Ohmtown chat on Twitch, and Ohmatron will spit out the articles in the order that we're going through it. Yep, there it is. Apple is a gangster company, not a gangster company. So Home Depot didn't announce it will begin charging customers for parking. This has been going around the internets for a little bit. An April Fool's joke duped some social media users, apparently. Now, I don't know about you, but Home Depot parking lots suck. All of them look like that. The parking lot is too tight. The spaces are too narrow unless you're parking over in the whatchamacallit? Oh God, I just forgot the name. Oh God. General contractors parking lot where the bigger trucks go. And I just hate Home Depot parking lots. So I wouldn't have been surprised if Home Depot actually started charging in this day and age. Tyja Perrycook over at Snopes.com put this article together. In April 2025, the Home Depot announced that it would begin charging customers for parking, but this is a false rumor. You trust but verify. Don't sit there and believe this. On April 1st, 2025, Pro Tools Reviews, an online publication that reviews tools and posts industry news, published a story that's they have links archiving it, claiming that home improvement retailer the Home Depot would begin charging customers for parking in May of 2025. And the claim made its way to multiple social media platforms, including Twitter, Reddit, Blue Sky. Some users appeared to believe them. That's because they're dumb. And so I thought that this was just brilliant. So now to park in Home Depot, you have to pay $5. So the story then went on to describe varying parking costs based on store location. $2 for up to 2 hours in Central Florida, $5 for a full day of parking in Los Angeles, and ways to avoid the parking fee. Spend over $250 in a single visit, or enroll in the Home Depot Pro Extra program and spend more than $1,000 a year. Can get you. I mean, it's a well thought out April Fool's joke, and just enough cynicism to make you go, yeah, it's 2025. I believe it. I buy into it. Yeah, for sure. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Volcanic eruptions keep forcing Icelandic town to evacuate. And look, I had Taco Bell while I was there. It makes me gassy. They weren't volcanic eruptions, okay? But I can see why people would want to evacuate. This was back in November, too. Back in November, the author of this wrote about an Icelandic volcano that was erupting for the 7th time in 2024. Unfortunately for the residents of nearby town Grindavik, it's happening again as tourists and residents, what's left of them at least, have been evacuated for safety. The eruption kicked off early Tuesday morning as lava began spewing with the volcano's fissure All right. If the volcanoes fissure, that is the... Okay, we're going to go over to the source and let's hope that they fix that. Hold on. Yeah, that fissure, it's not, that's not how you spell it. Anyway, having grown to about 0.75 miles long, Iceland does this really cool thing with the lava flows. After they cool, they use bulldozers and they build channels and walls, dams, and to guide follow-on lava flows into a particular direction away from civilization. I think it's brilliant. So one of the area's most popular tourist destinations just so happens to take full advantage of the nearby volcanic activity, relying on the local geothermal hot springs to attract. They randomly capitalize various things in this article. It's so weird. Full-on volcanic eruptions were maybe a little too much volcanic activity for the nearby hotel and resort, which was forced to close down as a precaution while eruptions continue, and Grindavik basically populates for a brief period and then everybody goes, you gotta go. So Grindavik was once home to 4,000 residents, a number of which has reduced significantly since the volcanic activity began in 2023. Thormar Omerson owns a pizza place in town, and he says that his family was born and raised there, and now their community is gone. Only time will tell. I believe that is going to be very wise words. We will see what happens with Grindavik. But Iceland is basically a giant volcano, and I hope that everybody is making it out safe. There's plenty of warning so far. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in WarCrafters. Here's what happens to your base in Dune Awakening if you take too long of a break from Arrakis. Well, the spice must flow, folks. And if your base is sitting there abandoned, I think that it's going to break down. Arcade was my favorite game, MMO. It kind of shit the bed again and then again and then again. And then finally, I don't know where it's at. I've actually made an account like 3 times. Anyway, survival MMO Dune Awakening releases next month on May 20th, and Funcom is churning out information about it faster than a sandworm poops out spice, and that's not what actually happens. In a recent live stream, members of Dune Awakening team answered questions from chat, and interestingly, one of the questions was, what happens to your base when you play Dune but you walk away from it for too long? Christopher Livingston put the article together. The deck statement says, it's not the same base decay system found in Funcom's other sandy survival game, Conan Exiles. So in Funcom's other sandy survival game, Conan Exiles, the pieces of your base have a timer that causes them to decay if you haven't been around for a while. On official servers, this can be between 1 and 2 weeks. Wander within rendering distance of your base and the timer is reset. Otherwise, when the timer runs out, your base is marked as abandoned, and after another 24 hours, if you haven't returned, it disappears. On the live stream, Funcom explained a bit about the difference between how bases in Conan Exiles and Dune Awakening work. Yes, we have some decay mechanics for its bases. As long as your base is powered, it is shielded, and as long as it's powered and shielded, it can't be destroyed. But what if you take a break from Dune for longer? They said, I think it takes 21 days. That gives your unattended base a week or 2 longer than the timer on Conan Exile official servers. The other difference is, while other players in Conan Exiles are a threat to your base in Dune Awakening, it's something else. Once the shield goes down, the sandworm will start tearing at your base. So it's not going to be like in Conan, but we have something similar to make sure that we get rid of things when people leave the game for too long. Damn. I'll be sure to will my account. The next article is over in the Continuity Report with Jack Black and Jason Momoa aboard a Minecraft movie roars. The blocky world of the hit Minecraft game comes alive in a film that's anything but meditative and serene. The article is over at the Washington Post. It's really a review. Gene Park put the article together. The blocky world of the hit Minecraft game comes alive. So it says a Minecraft movie offers a great surprise in Jason Momoa's Garrett Garrison. the aging gamer for whom time has stood still. More than a hair metal Gen X boomer stereotype, Momoa's 1989 Gamer of the Year delights in a soft reboot of Uncle Rico, the pitiful, lovable character from director Jared Hess's 2004 indie darling, Napoleon Dynamite. But they don't really say much in this article. If there is more to it, when I snatched this up, I had seen that it was just kind of a snippet, but depending on who you talk to, some people are liking this and other people are going, what the hell? So I think that this is going to be one of those movies where I'm going to just have to watch it and report out my own review of it. I like Minecraft. It doesn't have much of a story unless you buy install mods, or hell, I'd pay for mods for sure. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. So maybe you want to follow the link over and read the rest of this. Come to school and pretend to be my uncle. Garrett's response is a hilarious acknowledgement of the uncomfortable age gap and sharp reminder that he's basically a dazed and confused character who stumbled into the film adaptation. So yeah, it's an interesting, the stuff in this is too real, and it's almost uncanny valley kind of thing, but I guess some people will like it. I don't know. We'll have to see. I haven't watched it yet. The next movie, or the next article, is over in the Continuity Report, and that's a show that we have on Saturdays. It's the third show. So we have Reality Hacker, then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. So Reality Hacker is about augmented reality, VR, XR, basically hacking reality with either tech, science, or whatever. And then Wanted is about gadgets and gear, and then the Continuity Report is about entertainment, news, movies, TV shows, other stuff, whatever might be entertaining. So Freaky Tales is a 4-part love letter to 80s trash cinema. Directors Ryan Fleck and Anna Bodden serve up a midnight movie mashup made with lots of love and not enough grit. Well, this is another review. This time, again, it's over at Washington Post, and it's by Ty Burr. And it says, if you were alive and adolescent and wired on junk culture in the 1980s, Freaky Tales will have you counting the pop preferences until you run out of fingers and toes. The Warriors and Scanners, Repo Man, Liquid Sky, martial arts action, grindhouse revenge schlock. It's all here, stitched together with staticky VHS splices, a doomy synth score, and a lot of patently fraudulent blood. I haven't seen this yet, Freaky Tales. They don't post anything in this to lead me to it either, so I'm really curious. They only gave it 2.5 stars out of 4. So I'm really curious. Maybe if you go over there to the Washington Post and take a look at this article, maybe there's more for you, and maybe there's a paywall or something that I'm not seeing. Anyway, let's keep going. This is a time machine episode. I got to get out of here. I have a hard stop at 3. I don't know. I will be able to do the 7 o'clock Non Sequitur news for Friday. I was hoping to do it sooner, but I won't be able to, so we'll wait until 7. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report as well. Nintendo Switch 2 price, release date, and what's in the box. What's in the box? A highly anticipated Nintendo Switch, the highly anticipated Nintendo Switch, has finally been revealed. It's going to come out for $449.99. Games are going to be priced somewhere between $80 and $90. $80 and $90, folks. Ridiculous. I will not be buying this. I cannot buy this. And with tariffs and other things, who knows if this price is actually going to stick, because there is rumblings right now that the release date has already been eyed for delay because of the tariffs, throwing off the price as it enters the United States. It would be $449.99, $500 if you get Mario Kart. But it's going to be ridiculous. We'll have to wait and see. This is over at comingsoon.net. I got my information from various other places, but comingsoon.net has the identical information that I'm talking about. It's supposed to be released on June 5th. Pre-orders will open on April 9th, but again, there's rumblings already that people are not going to get it, and that the price might actually go up as it enters the United States. So can you pre-order it? Yes, you can pre-order it. Nintendo Switch will go live April 9th for pre-orders. I don't know what all is going to happen. It's going to come with the Nintendo Switch 2 console, 2 Joy-Con controllers, a left and right, Joy-Con 2 grip, straps, dock, ultra high-speed HDMI cable, whatever that means, Nintendo Switch 2 AC adapter, and a USB-C charging cable. So it can be charged by USB-C, as every modern piece of electronic equipment should be. I mean, for crying out loud, I make these little wooden boxes for a very specific purpose, and they're powered by USB-C. And if I can do it, multi-billion-dollar corporations should be doing it nowadays. Everything should be converted. Anyway, even if you should be able to find a way to convert everything, just desolder a circuit and attach a PD USB-C circuit in its place, and just move everything to USB-C. Doesn't do whatever you have to. It's so dumb to be on anything else. Anyway, let's keep on moving. The next article is over in Technology Today. Google AI presented the author's April Fool's story as real news. Journalist Ben Black was shocked to discover his fake news from 5 years ago is used by AI. Well, artificial intelligence scans everything, scans the internet. If it's in Google, then it's in an AI. If it's somewhere else, a crawler is crawling. Like ohmTown is being crawled. I know it. I actually have a custom crawler now on the search, so that I can get search results in a timely manner, because the site is so big, and on my current server it's being overwhelmed. So I actually extricate the search results to a different service, and I have to pay for it. So I mean, ohmTown is not free, folks. So AI basically scanned this person's article 5 years ago and now is producing it as results. And that's why I tell people don't trust results from an AI. Larry Griffiths from BBC.com put this article together, but it's Ben Black that this story is really about. In 2022, Mr. Black published a fake story claiming CWM BRAN. I don't know how this is actually pronounced. Cambrin? Quembrin? I don't know. Cambrin? I'm going to say Cambrin. Had been recognized by the Guinness World Records for having the most roundabouts per square kilometer. Well, despite the wording of that article, when they searched for it on April, they were shocked to find out that Google actually output that, yeah, it was seemingly that when I did the same search looking for the most roundabouts per square kilometer, I got two different results depending on my verbiage. One was this, claiming that it was, but there was a wiggle word in there, right, in the results. But the concept for a story had come from Cambrin, which I don't know how to pronounce it, I'm sorry. Being a new town where often linking houses with roundabouts is the easiest way to build. They came up with a number for the roundabouts per square kilometer and added a fake quote from a resident and clicked publish, and it went viral. But then they did a search recently on April Fool's this year, and it had spit out that it says here, the Welsh town of Cambrin reportedly has the world's highest concentration of roundabouts, which isn't fact, it's reportedly. And reportedly means people have reported it as. And if a multitude of people manifest a lie, then the lie persists. Look at society. if a plurality of people believe something to be true, it is true until those who believe are educated beyond doubt. And so that is basically what we have to deal with AI. If AI scoops up something and it is verified by the internal machinations of the LLM chewing on various bits of data to give credence to various statements, then you get this. And I'd have to go back and look at the actual article, but I'm willing to bet that the term report or reportedly is used in the publication of the Welsh town being the highest number of roundabouts per kilometer, with a random number and blah, blah, blah. And even making references to this. And so when it comes across as fact, it doesn't know anything and it doesn't understand satire. That is going to be our downfall with AI in general, sarcasm, satire, humor in general, etc. They're going to treat The Onion as fact-based just as much as Snopes, except that Snopes debunks and The Onion is satirical. Well, it's satirical until it's not. Again, look around. Anyway, I find it fascinating, and I'm not really dismayed, but then again, I don't trust AI. The only AI I trust is the sentient AI that helps me with Hometown nearly every day. It's been a rough week. Anyway, and up until today, this is the first day where I can take a deep breath without nearly dying. Anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in WarCrafters. The BAFTA declares Shenmue and a game that came out 2 months ago more influential than Tetris and expects us all to go along with that. That's what is written at this article over at PC Gamer. But let's keep going. A couple months back, the British Academy Film Awards, or BAFTAs, more or less the British Oscars, got bored of figuring out which things were good by itself. Instead, it decided to ask you, the humble gaming public, to divine the most influential game of all time. And oh boy, you've really made a hash of that. In results announced today, the BAFTAs declared with an entirely straight face that Yu Suzuki's 1999 Dreamcast Opus is the most influential video game ever made, according to the results of the poll. The Academy calls Shenmue a pioneer for open world gameplay. The article is over at PCGamer.com by Joshua Wollens, and the deck statement says, a lot of forklift fans in the house tonight. So yeah, it says, a pioneer for open world gameplay and laid a roadmap that others continued on in the years that followed, and credits / blames it for popularizing the use of quick time events in games that came after. None of which, the author says, is necessarily untrue, but the game bringing up the rear in second place is literally Doom. And even if you're absolutely bonzo dog doodah nuts for forklift simulators and characters who say things like, years ago I was Chinese, I still don't think you can credit Shenmue with greater and longer lasting influence than the game that codified the FPS as a genre. And so I don't know about it, where Tetris comes into this, but there's more. And then they end up talking about the BAFTA most influenced list is Shenmue and then Doom, which I would say is FPS, basically kickstarting FPS. Super Mario Brothers, Half-Life, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. The most influential, hold on, let me read this again. Most influential game, right? Video game ever. On this list, I would probably say everything is more influential than Shenmue. Everything. Obviously this was gamed. Anyway, what's your opinion on this? Why don't you leave a comment down below this video over on YouTube, because there are no comments on Twitch except in chat. And since this is a Time Machine episode, I think all the comments are going to be either in the Discord or over on YouTube, so go check it out. Anyway, I'm going to move on. I have a very limited time frame because I got to get out of here. Mayoral duties, baby. So the next article is over in our last article for the April 3rd, 2025 episode is over in Smack Talk. And if you didn't catch that, it's all about Mac, Apple stuff and relationships with other platforms, blah, blah. So Apple is a gangster company which finds crime pays, says Epic Games CEO. Now, I fall in line with the 9 to 5 Mac crew, so I'll probably never be sponsored by Epic, but here we go. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney, has turned up the dial to 11 on his anti-Apple rhetoric, calling the iPhone maker a gangster-style business, which has concluded that crime pays, and has concluded that crime pays. Anyway. He said that both Apple and Google are guilty of the same practices, including using scare tactics to make iPhone and Android users afraid to install Epic game stores. It would be fair to say that Sweeney isn't an Apple fan. Back in 2021, Epic mostly lost a lawsuit against Apple. It scored one victory, the judge ruling that developers are allowed to direct users to alternative ways to pay for in-app purchases that would avoid the App Store's 30% cut, but lost on all other issues. But my problem there is Epic is benefiting from the Apple Store, but doesn't want to compensate Apple for the marketing or Google for the marketing and the vehicle by which it becomes a frictionless enterprise to acquire a customer into the Epic ecosystem. And then Epic is sitting there bitching about it. So start your own store and find out how lucrative it can be. Well, it's a real tough haul, right? A really slow slog that you're spending a lot of money. So you're finding out, Epic Game Store, exactly what it is. So why bitch about it? Give the people who are validating the fact that people want it in that platform. I want to buy everything from Apple. I want to buy everything from my Android store on my Android devices. I want to buy everything from my for my Windows machines from Steam, game wise. Everything else is electronic, digital downloads anyways. So what the frick, man? They are the one-stop shop. So why not just write off that 30% as cost of goods sold, and your margin is based on that when it comes from the Apple Store? Well, it's because it's an Apple customer that they are gaining, not an Epic customer. It's an Apple customer that happens to be interested in Epic Games. Otherwise, why not release your own phone, Epic? I'm sorry, that's how I feel about it. But it's not how I'm not really sorry, because I've been through this. I once was trying to spin up a business that was basically distributing music, and I would get a piece of the action for each of the songs that I would put onto a custom distribution of CDs. And the labels basically said to me, well, you're just using our music to sell to customers. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm zeroing the friction to get a custom playlist of CD quality, high quality music. And they said no. They said customers will find a different way. They'll buy the entire albums. And I'm like, all right. So, but in this case, it would be Epic. Epic is sitting there going, we want to sell to all of the Apple and Android customers, but we don't want to give them a piece of the action. And I was actually telling them, the labels, like, hey, you'll get a piece of the action, but I want a piece of the action for providing the service. It's a value add. And they said no. And that's what this is. Epic is saying they want to be able to sell directly, and they don't want me to make any money, right? They don't want Apple to make any money. They don't want Android to make any money. They want to utilize the platform, but not benefit the very platform that they're marketing through, that they're reaching customers through. And it's just like Steam and other platforms. that take a piece of the action, but zero the friction to reaching a customer. Try and sell a game strictly online, not using other vehicles where you have to pay to play, and see how far you get. Believe me, I have been around the block. Okay. I wasn't, I was born here. As the internet became the internet, I was here, and I will probably die here. And let me tell you, the one thing holds true: you are not an island unto yourself, and you need to facilitate those who help you facilitate your success. You facilitate their success. So giving 30%, it doesn't matter, because after everything is paid for, the rest is juice. You know, it doesn't just keep on diminishing little bit by little bit. At some point, everything is paid off and it's nothing but juice. Get it out there fast, get people purchasing your stuff, and everything after is juice. That 70%, I guarantee you, is all juice. There's no way that somebody is still in the red if they're selling, you know, a quality product on Apple and Google. And if it's coming out of Epic, for crying out loud, man, the margin can't be so tight that 30% is impacting you. It's an unlimited resource of distribution. Nobody is going out and harvesting a tree, and you know, it's a 10,000-year-old tree and there's only 15,000 of those trees left in existence, and you're making a very bespoke, limited little product. Countless sales can be made, and you are bitching about 30%. So I'm sorry. Wah. So Apple and Google gangster companies. In remarks reported by TechCrunch, S4e93 has gone even further while speaking at a tech conference. The sad truth is that Apple and Google no longer good faith, law-abiding companies. They're run in many ways as gangster-style businesses. No, Apple in particular is a vertical. They manufacture and produce everything. You know, they get the supplies from somebody and they have somebody build it. They're the only seller of their products. They allow some stuff to augment what they have, but you can use an Apple product all by itself. You don't have to have anything else. They opened the doors because they saw that there was a benefit, because there was a large audience that said, well, we want to make our own stuff and we want to sell it. And so they said, okay, that's great. And we want a piece of the action because you're using our platform, and we protect our platform to a greater degree, and so on and so forth, and whatever. So be a vertical, you know, and see how many people are interested in your vertical. It doesn't work that way. Not even Android and Google are verticals. Android is given to everybody, and you can produce on it and sell into the Google store. But you're using somebody else's. Now, if I go to Epic and say, hey, you need to sell everything from Apple and Android store in the Epic store, they'll probably go, oh, okay. But that's because it's beneficial to him, to Epic, because it'll allow everybody else to come over to Epic. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen. People really want the frictionless arena of Apple and the frictionless and customizable arena or ecosystem of Google Android and the myriad suppliers of Android devices. But Epic, it wants all of it everywhere. That would be great if I actually got it everywhere. If I bought it once at Apple and I got it at Epic, sure. And Android. You buy it once and use it everywhere. If that's cool, let's do that. But I really doubt it. I won't be able to buy it at Epic and be able to use a key from Epic over on Apple and Android and Steam because everybody wants to pee on their bush. Well, that's how industry is. Y'all get together and make sure that everybody plays well together and keep the prices low, because you don't have to pay for packaging or anything anymore. But no, $80 to $90 as a freaking game coming out now. Hundreds of dollars now, $100 if you want early access by 5 days. Y'all can kiss my shiny metal butt. Anyway, top comment by Lewis Thompson, 9to5's take. Maybe it's because I don't play Fortnite and therefore care very little, but does anyone care what Tim Sweeney has to say at this point? They were found to be violating the App Store's terms and conditions in the first place, something his organization had to willingly accept before launching the app inside Apple's ecosystem. And whether it's deep or not, it does have to go after iOS as a market and is choosing this because of his own desire for a slice of the pie. Absolutely. So they say here in this article that they've argued previously Apple is making exactly the same mistake Epic did when it baited Apple. What Epic Games did was dumb. It baited Apple. Apple responded and Epic Games got hurt. FAFO. You can F around and find out. But Apple is making the same exact mistake here. It's baiting lawmakers. Lawmakers will respond and Apple will get hurt. That's because they aren't seeing it the way that I am seeing it, which is Apple is a vertical. It is a product and a series of services that they provide, and they happen to open it up to people who want to sell to that ecosystem. You sign an agreement buying into that agreement, and that agreement stipulates that they get a piece of the action. Why do they get a piece of the action? Because they are making frictionless the acquisition of a product that other people are making, a service or whatever else. That fee is 30%, 30% versus 0. If I have to hunt down and market, the expense to try and find somebody in this market is ridiculous. This is now my 4th year streaming. I don't know. Is it me? Leave a comment in the comments over on YouTube. You let me know. Is it just me? All right. Well, anyway, that is it. We are going to, I don't know, roll OG down ohmTown's Main Street. And that brings us back to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you should go and become a citizen. But I'm going to get out of here. I am actually going to end up being late. So I will see you soon. Bye-bye.